Welcome to the Roost News, the place for all things volunteer. I am Lillian Lee, co-lead of OVE's AARP Roost News podcast. And today I am so excited. We welcome Gail Tate, Bettina Robson, and Bob Bush with a fast track program. Welcome. Welcome to the Roost News.
Thank you.
Thank
It's a pleasure to be
you.
here. Yeah,
Yes.
pleasure to be here. Thanks a
Are
lot.
ready.
Yes, so Gail and Bettina and Bob, you were some of our first guests in 2022 when we rolled out the Roost News podcast. So it's really great that you're coming back after that time to give us updates, and I'm excited to hear what you have to say. Because the volunteers are excited about this program, and I know you want to get more volunteers excited and more staff excited about the program. And we're going to ask you to do a 2 to 3 minute elevator speech in just a few minutes. But before we get started, please share just a little information about you, where you reside, and why volunteer for AARP. Gail, we'll start with you, then Bettina and Bob.
Okay, so before coming to AARP professionally, I was in telecommunications. I worked for AT&T Bell Labs, and then when I retired from there, I worked with the University of Illinois' National Center for Supercomputing, and I managed a technology showcase and incubator for small businesses. And then after that, I founded my own business around project management and technology services. So I relocated from Chicago to Tennessee in 2019 and was here after I got settled, decided I need something to do. and went to the AARP website and volunteered. I was here, I got to go to one meeting, and then the pandemic hit.
Oh.
So sat around for a while, and then I'll talk about the email that came around about looking for people with technology background to teach classes.
Great.
And so that's how I really got active in AARP volunteering.
And you live in the state of Tennessee.
In Tennessee, Crossville, Tennessee, between
Tennessee.
Nashville and Knoxville.
Okay. Bettina.
Hi, everybody. So I live in South Florida, the Fort Lauderdale area. I just love Florida. I've been here more than half my life after being a military brat for many years and traveling quite a bit. My background is mainly in business and entertainment. I've been an entertainer since about 12 years old, singing. I eventually ended up on a cruise ship as a cruise director. And what I've brought to the table as a volunteer is making our meetings and our presentations a little bit more entertainment wise, a little bit more lively. And that's been a really fun thing for me. Then I got involved in my own business after I left the cruise industry, kind of retired from the cruise industry, and thought, gee, I'd like to get to know some more people and different people other than the people in my business. And I volunteered for AARP. I went to one meeting in person before COVID hit, right? And after that, nothing. And then I received an email similar to Gail about the tech team. I said, this is right up my alley because I love technology. So I joined the tech team, and basically the rest is history with volunteering. I've been a volunteer for about 6 years now, and I love every second of it. Over to you, Bob.
Thank you, Bettina. My name is Bob Bush, and I am a proud AARP volunteer, and I live in the Tampa Bay area in Florida. My first career was in the military. I was a command pilot in the B-52, and then I became a Russian linguist and a diplomat in Russia and then East Germany. And I then served as an intelligence officer, and I wrapped it up my career as administrator of a large military language school. And I retired and became a college professor, and I taught primarily business classes, some other things. But so then I retired from that job, and I was looking around for something to do, to volunteer to give to my community. And I started off being in tax aid, and I did tax aid for many, many years. And then I missed teaching, so I started into driver safety. And that just led me down the road, and I got to know the people in my state and the AARP, and I got more involved. And as you well know, as a volunteer, if you volunteer and you have a willing spirit and you want to do a good job, and you come across as a genuine person, they will find more things for you to do. So, I started off with this during COVID. I started off being a Zoom teacher, and I was doing them for the Retired Educators Association in my state and other states, Zoom training, so they could get their people on Zoom to stay connected. And then we got got involved in being a social media training team. That was a long time ago, and then
Yeah.
that sort of moved into being in fast track. And there's tech training, and there's so many other things that I
Great.
find to involve myself. So it gives me a great amount of pleasure to reach out, talk to people, help people, enjoy being with people. And there's so many great programs in AARP. You can find something there for everybody. There's all
Yeah.
something of interest, and so
Yes.
I'm
Thank you,
enjoying
Bob. That is
myself.
great. That is great. We're going to move on quickly just because of time. But AARP is so fortunate to have the three of you in the Fast Track program. So when we think about Fast Track and we're trying to get people involved in it, I wanted you all to give a 2 to 3 minute, what we call elevator speech, how you're going to spark people about coming to the Fast Track program. And I'll start with Bettina and then Bob and then Gail.
So, Fast Track is a series of 3 different sessions, 1 through 3, and you can attend them in any order. And what we do is we orient people to all the different possibilities of being a volunteer with AARP. We give them the history of AARP, the history of our founder, Ethel Percy Andrus, and we talk about the structure and organization of AARP as well. So we can see the big picture of where we fit in AARP. And then we talk about all the different resources. That's session 3, that's our favorite session, that AARP volunteers can utilize in their volunteer journey. And then we have a 4th session on the 4th Thursday of the month, which is the campus sessions. I think we're probably going to talk about that a little bit more later. But that's basically the gist of it. And I'm going to let Bob and Gail talk about how it came about and why we decided to do the fast track. So I'll pass it on at this point.
Thank you, Bettina. To me, what strikes for a volunteer is about Fast Track is our whole project was conceived by volunteers. The 3 of us got together and said, what would we like to know? What do we wish we knew as a new volunteer? And we started tossing that idea around, and we said, well, let's go to the Office of Volunteer Engagement National and pitch ourselves that we want to start a program on a national basis that runs, sequentially in different weeks to orient new volunteers to become really great volunteers to get out and present themselves to the public and support our issues. But to me, volunteer led, a volunteer idea, volunteer run under the umbrella of an Office of Volunteer Engagement. That shows that a group of volunteers can start a national program. We were going on 5.5 years or so now, and be effective as a team. So back to you, Gail.
Okay. And so I think volunteering with AARP isn't just about giving back. It's about making connections. Bettina, Bob, and I had never met except virtually, and we started this program. Learning new skills, being part of something bigger than ourselves. Fast Track will introduce you to who you are as a volunteer within AARP, what AARP does, and the many ways you can contribute and grow as part of the AARP family as a volunteer. So we know when you come to Fast Track, you'll leave informed, inspired, and excited about the journey ahead. And so we appreciate your willingness to serve and come join us.
Great. Well, just from those three comments, I know that the volunteers listening will want to continue to participate in the Fast Track program or start participating in Fast Track. So we talked a little bit about the why, and I know you have several sessions. You were saying 3 Thursdays per month with the other session that we'll talk about the campus a little bit later. But why do you think it's needed? Talk a little bit about the sessions themselves and how you decided on what type of sessions to have with the Fast Track program.
We'll let Bob go first.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Bob.
Well, we sat down and laid out what it is that we wanted to accomplish, and we said if we have 3 sequential Thursdays, we would do a mini topic for each of those Thursdays. And we have some of the first one is an overview of what AARP is. So everybody's kind of oriented to how we should respond to the public, what should we be doing, sort of a code of conduct, if you will, as a volunteer. The second one is all about the structure. It's a big organization. You got the national structure, you got your state structure, you got possibly some local structures. And the third one is we really brainstormed for a while and we came up with what links, what resources, a lot of things happening in AARP. What resources do we really want to focus on? We can give to that volunteer in a form of an ebook. So when you click, you get an ebook, an electronic book. And when you click on the link, it doesn't take you to something you got to search for. It takes you directly to the page that information is obtained. And I'll toss it over to Bettina now.
Oh, and I love everything you said, Bob. It's really what we're all about. And we see Fast Track as more than just, oh, we're going to put some classes together and we're going to show you all about. It's a community. It is an opportunity to meet others. It's an opportunity to ask questions. And we don't replace states that have their own training for volunteers. We are a supplement to that, kind of the icing on the cake, if you will. And when volunteers come to the Fast Track and they do our Zoom meetings on Thursdays, they have a great time. They meet each other and they can reach out and ask questions about maybe there's some things in their state that they're not unsure about, like who their associate state director is. And we make sure that they're connected and that we refer them back to their states and they know who that person is. So it's just a community where people can gather and share and learn about their role as a volunteer in many different ways.
Right.
Over to you, Gail.
And I was going to say, in addition to that, we've had new staff members come to Fast Track and say, I didn't know this. Thank you so much. It helped me get acclimated much quicker. I was able to learn things. And in addition, we've had some of the state presidents come and then encourage their volunteers to show up for Fast Track. So once somebody attends, the word of mouth passes, besides our advertisement, passes that you really should go to this. It's really valuable, and you get, like you say, a big picture of AARP and what's going on in a short period of time. 3 hours, you're done. You get that, all that knowledge, I'll say. And the other thing we encourage is, we know that we present a lot of information, and we tell our attendees, don't worry about it. This organization is big. You can come back. And we've had people say, I came back. I remember the first session, but I've come back because I'm now more into the volunteer role and I want to now absorb more. So
great. Yeah, I was going to ask you the question, do you have those who repeat the sessions because they didn't get all the information they needed, or they've come back with more questions for you?
Right.
So that's good to hear that you do have the repeaters. Well, talk a little bit about your time schedule. You said on Thursdays, it's 3 or 4 o'clock. I'm trying to remember.
4 o'clock Eastern.
4 o'clock Eastern time. Okay, so volunteers and staff sort of pencil that in, and I will be putting in the overview, if I haven't said it already, I will be putting the link in there. There are 2 links that will be noted in the overview on this podcast for you to check out the link and then check out if you want to become a volunteer, which is really neat that the Fast Track team has a wealth of information, and it covers, I think, just about every topic there is for a volunteer and staff to get more information. So that's great. That is great. So the other question I have is that on that 4th Thursday, it's something unique, I think. It's called the campus sessions. Talk a little bit about the campus sessions. Whoever wants to start first.
Yeah, so the campus sessions are at the 4th Thursday of the month. And those are general topics of interest that apply to all volunteers. And that's a time where we can do a deeper dive into maybe something that's very current with AARP that we want to share with all volunteers. During the voting time, we may have a voting campus to talk about voters registration, the importance of voting. And this gives us an opportunity to have higher level AARP staff come on board and talk to us about that particular topic. And also it's an opportunity for volunteers to see who's running AARP.
Right. Good
What are they
job.
doing? What do they have to say? So we do things like Social Security, Speakers Bureau information. If you wanted to be a speaker and do a deeper dive into that, prescription drug prices, voting, caregiving, you name it, all these topics that are applicable to what we're doing in our volunteer life. And we don't put them out way far in advance, like for a whole year, because we want the opportunity to seize the moment and pick topics that are very current and relevant to what we're doing today. And we love that. And sometimes we just have fun with it. Like we had one called Associate State Directors on the Hot Seat. And we had three Associate State Directors from across the country, and we asked them questions, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. I was going to say the other couple of topics we've had, we will have Office of Volunteer Engagement teams come in to talk about their teams and what the teams are doing. So like the portal team. We've had the Roost team come in and talk about what you do. We also had one of the Ethels. We had one on the Ethels.
Wish of a lifetime. Wish of a lifetime.
And so we've also had the one of the researchers who helped put together the statistics and the report around the volunteer survey. And so she came and reported on what the outcome was of that survey and explained what they do. So we, like Bettina said, we think, well, what's current? And we look for those members to come in and talk.
Great, yeah. So as you can see, volunteers and staff, they are enthusiastic about the Fast Track program. There are a variety of topics that they can cover. And I'm sure if you have a topic that you feel has not been covered, reach out to the Fast Track team and they will make sure they add it on for you. The other question I have about Fast Track, is it necessary that they start, say, with the first session? Can they start with the second, third, fourth, and then just work their way back around?
You can start at any session.
Okay.
And you can come back as many times as you want. And we are recording the Fast Track's first 3 sessions.
Okay.
And they're on the volunteer portal now, and we're ready to update them. But we encourage attendees to come to the sessions because when we have time, if a staff member is there, we have them introduce themselves and talk about what they do. We've had people make connections across the state. The state may be doing a program because we'll ask volunteers, what are you doing? And so people make connections, as Bettina said earlier, in the Zoom sessions for Fast Track. So we encourage to come because you never know who you're going to meet and what you're going to hear.
That is so true. Anything else, Bob?
Well, let me just add something because when I listened to Gail, it made me think of something. We were asked by the National Office of Volunteer Engagement, OVE, to record our sessions. And then we started talking back and forth and they asked us if we would redo our show under the current branding. And we said, well, sure. It was a good time to refresh it. So we redid all of our PowerPoints and we're about ready to actually going to record them tomorrow. And we're going to re-record them with the new branding, updated slides and so forth, and to be put onto the portal as part of the training program for volunteers. So if you're unable to maybe attend our classes or your state, you're not able to go to a training program in your state for some period of time and you're a new volunteer, you can be directed to the volunteer portal and look at those training programs at your leisure. So that's a positive thing. So we are updating and refreshing.
That's good. That's good. You have to update it. That's why I have you back, because I wanted you all to let the volunteers and staff know what has changed. And so we'll move on to the outcomes and we'll talk a little bit about that. For the outcomes, when you first started, you were saying maybe 5.5 years ago, since you're beginning with the Fast Track program, anything that you are looking at enhancing or changing as you continue down the path of giving all this valuable information to the volunteers and staff?
Well, I think we're basically going to be continuing what we're doing. And I think the one thing that I would like to see that we enhance over next year is a little bit more outreach. When you think about AARP, we have over 60,000 volunteers, and we want to reach more of those volunteers. And we're going to work closely with the Office of Volunteer Engagement to get the word out more and to contact more people that have the opportunity, like Associate State Directors, to let their volunteers know, because even though they have training in the state, they pick up a lot when they come to the volunteer fast track.
Yes.
And also Bob mentioned that we are on the portal. And in order to find us on the portal, you just go to the training tab and search fast track, and you'll see our 3 sessions pop up, along with the opportunity to download those resources we talked about.
And you also have a chatter group that is public. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Correct. And in fact, our campus sessions, we actually record, and those are posted on our chatter group.
Great.
So if we have a campus session and somebody misses, they can go to the portal and see the video.
Yes. And I think, of course, the portal is so important for our volunteers. So great for doing that. Yes. Yes, Bettina?
Oh, I was just going to say, in our chatter group, our schedule is pinned at the top.
Yes.
It's always pinned, and there's a link there that is updated 365, 24/7. So as long as you can get to that link, you will always know what's going on with Fast Track. And we do take a couple of months off a year during the summer, July and August.
Oh, so you're
and we
not
come back. We'll be back in September.
Track. No Fast Track this month or August? What are we going to do?
Well,
Bettina and Bob?
And part of it is that's the time we take, as Bob said, to update the slides, to update our materials, and think about what else do we want to do for the rest of the year.
So you're not really taking a break. You are actually working behind, volunteering. I won't say work, volunteering behind the scenes and getting ready when September comes. Is that correct?
Correct.
September.
Correct.
Oh, great. Well, you all have given such a wealth of information about Fast Track, and the excitement should be there for the volunteers and the staff to continue to participate. I like the idea of your reaching out to more of the volunteers and more of the staff, because when we have our teams or our programs, that's what we want to do. We want to get more people involved, more people knowledgeable about AARP and all of its entities. So thank you all so much for doing that. So we've talked a lot, or you've talked a lot, and I appreciate that. But is there anything else you would like to share about the Fast Track program that maybe was not highlighted?
I'd like to make one kind of a wrap-up comment from my own perspective. I don't do anything in AARP as a volunteer unless I'm having fun. I have to be having a good time, or I'm not going to do it. I'll move on to another volunteer project. So I want to let the people that haven't been to Fast Track know, and the 3 of us are great friends, and we are highly involved and active. When you come to Fast Track, you're not going to get 3 talking heads giving the evening news. You're going to get 3 people having a good time, making the session as interactive as we can be on a Zoom session. But we try to put a little fun and a little humor and show that you can have a lot of fun being a volunteer, and it is a great experience, and it's a social experience in itself, just coming to our show. So you come and see our show, and I guarantee we'll put a smile on your face.
And I can attest to that. Yes, you all are a great team, and that's what you need. You know, the volunteers don't want to just sit and not have some type of fun in the interactions as they go through the program. So that's really, really neat. Bettina or Gail?
Well, I agree with everything Bob said. We do like to have, I liken our sessions to like a late night talk show.
Okay.
Because we chat and we share information, and like Gail said, we go, well, what are you doing? What's going on in your state? And sometimes we get great ideas about what's going on in your state.
Right.
So, yeah.
And a couple of times we have volunteers come to Fast Track who have volunteered but not been connected to their state office.
Good
So we have them, email us, and we make that connection, because we don't want any volunteers sitting around not doing anything. We got so much to do. So so it also helps us make sure everybody who has volunteered is connected with their state offices.
Wonderful.
And we'd also like to thank the Roost for everything you do, because if you look at your YouTube channel, you have highlighted so many wonderful areas in AARP and shared so much great information. And I remember our first interview, I think it was the first month you got started, we were all like, oh. And now we're just, we're just really enjoying everything. And thank you, the Roost, for everything you've done.
Thank you for saying that. Yes, we work to inform, and the goal is to go to all 53 of the state offices, and we're over halfway there. So to share the great news, so that's a good thing too. But if you don't have anything else to share, let me say thank you again for being our guest. And I hope that from this podcast, you will see more and more volunteers reaching out to you, more staff reaching out to you, because this will, of course, and I know you all will publicize it. I know you will, because I'm going to be sending you the direct link to send to the volunteers and staff, and that will be great. So, staff and volunteers. We thank you. We encourage you to subscribe to the Roost News podcast channel on our YouTube channel and or listen to it on your favorite podcast, on your favorite audio podcast or audio version of the Roost News podcast. And again, we just say thank you. Thank you so very much. We also want you to like our podcast. That's our goal, is to get more people to like that podcast. And I know you're going to like the Roost News with the Fast Track team. So I'm looking forward to seeing so many likes for this particular podcast today. So on behalf of the Roost News team, we thank you, and we will talk soon.